component. Self management. What does that mean? That means the ability to integrate our emotions with our life experiences, body, mind, world, self management. The third component is awareness of the emotions of another at a deep level, what we call empathy. And then the fourth component is management of relationships. I also want to say that all of this should also include, additionally, how you can be emotionally free at all times, irrespective of situations, circumstances, events, and people. So let's explore this a little bit. Okay, what are emotions? Emotions are thoughts connected to sensations. Emotions are thought connected to sensations in the body. But sensations are intimately also connected to the five sense perceptions, images, feelings, and thoughts. They're all inseparable. So as soon as you have a thought, particularly if you're attached to that thought or to that relationship, that generates a sensation in the body. And the combination of that sensation and that thought ultimately is emotion. We call our emotions feelings because we feel them in our body. We feel them in our body. So, right now, if you were to close your eyes, and you can try this and think of an unpleasant experience or conversation that you had a while back, you'll feel some tightness in your body. That's a sensation accompanying that unpleasant story that you're remembering right now. Now you could switch and remember another story, falling in love, or looking across the Grand Canyon, or being wonderstruck, or playing with your children, or being totally astonished by a beautiful scene, or ecstatic with a piece of music. Different kind of sensation. The body is not so constricted; it relaxes. So one of the best ways to deal with what we call turbulent emotions, because emotions will always vacillate between what we call pain and pleasure, opposites, joy, but also suffering. That's the nature of emotions. They occur as a result of experience, which is always by contrast. You can't have one without the other, just like you can't have an up without a down or a hot without a cold. So this emotional experience projects as we what we call a karmic body or conceptual body. But behind that is a non-conceptual body, which in traditional wisdom traditions is called the bliss body. And you can experience that or glimpse that even right now if you close your eyes and forget all the stories, feel your body, and just ask yourself, what am I grateful for? Just ask that and be alert to any sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts that may spontaneously arise. And you're going closer now to the healing of emotions, because the healing of emotions ultimately cannot come through logic. They can only come through the experience of wholeness. And one of the ways to experience wholeness is gratitude. I would suggest that during this holiday season, every time you feel distressed, just stop for a moment, close your eyes, feel your body, and ask yourself, what am I grateful for? So that's the first step. The second step in emotional freedom is to take responsibility for your emotions. They're yours, not somebody else's fault, even though we think like that. So take responsibility for your emotions, number one. Number two, learn to witness them as sensations in your body without judgment in the beginning. Number three, then label them. What is it you're feeling? Fear, or anxiety, or anger, or hostility, or guilt, or shame, or mistrust, or frustration. Give it a label. and then actually express that emotion in three versions. First person, you are telling yourself your own story. Second person, you try to view the same story from the point of the other in a relationship. And then third step, you try to view the same emotion through a neutral observer, somebody who's writing a story, let's say for the New York Times or something like that. So when you view the emotion from three perspectives, first person, second person, third person, the charge that that emotion elicits goes down. This is called expressing the emotion. And then after that, we can actually share it with a loved one and or somebody we trust. Then we release it through ritual. Then we celebrate the release of the emotion, and then we move on. If you do this, practice this a little bit, responsibility, witnessing, labeling, expressing, sharing, releasing, and celebrating, will stay free. The other thing you can also do is engage in what we call nonviolent communication, as expressed by Marshall Rosenberg. What am I observing? What am I feeling? What am I needing? How do I express my need in a relationship through vulnerability? And you can try that with another person as well. What are you observing? What are you feeling? What do you need? And how can I help you fulfill the need? So now, this is a very short summary of emotional intelligence, a good opportunity to activate it during this season. Once again, self awareness, self management, awareness of the other, nonviolent communication, and releasing emotions and experiencing gratitude. So that's it. It's very short today, but I hope this is useful, and I'm happy right now to answer any questions if you have any in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So Isadora Salas has a question. Isadora, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. You talked about when you have an emotion and not placing judgment, and what I could see the road, but when then you say labeling, can you differentiate the two? Because sometimes they could be misconstrued or not
So
be placed on the same place.
very good. You know, in the beginning, you just observe the emotion, you feel it in your body, but then you can label it, especially in a way that does not blame the other person. So when I say I was angry, I was feeling hostility, guilt, shame, frustration, anxiety, fear, whatever, you're not blaming another person. You're not judging it. You're just giving it a label. And by the way, these labels have to do with not experiencing a fundamental need, such as safety, security, achievement, love, belongingness, creative expression, higher consciousness, transcendence. So try and identify the need that's not met. But don't use words, emotionally intelligent words are taking responsibility, the ability to respond. But when you say I was abused, I was abandoned, I was betrayed, then you're basically blaming the other person, and you'll have to wait a long time for the other person to change so you can feel better. So the sequence I suggested is actually very useful, and you can find it in one of my books called The Path to Love. So I'll take now the next question, Chris Rossetti. Chris, what's your question?
Well, good morning from San Francisco. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Sure.
Very quick question. When helping children deal with their emotions, can these same concepts you've spoken of today be deduced, reduced, or just used exactly as they are so that children are not stifled, but expressive and yet controlled their emotions? Thank
So on children, the best rule is that if they're less than 5, These are very difficult concepts. Okay, so children less than 5, if you give them total acceptance, which means you don't try to change who they are, they have unique personalities. You make sure that they feel loved, which is called total um, affection. Second, third, acceptance also means hearing them, attention. And fourth, appreciation, which means noticing their unique gifts. So these are the four A's: acceptance, appreciation, attention, and attention. And then the children will spontaneously mature emotionally as they grow up. Also, children love to play, and so they look at you. They look at your eyes, they look at your tone of voice, body language, gestures. Are you smiling or not? The more your body language expresses those four A's: attention, affection, appreciation, acceptance, the better they will feel. And as they grow up, of course, they can learn these techniques as well. So I hope that helps. I'll take Bart now, Bart Rademacher. Hi, Bart. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this beautiful reminder, Deepak. Real quick question. Is it helpful to say, instead of saying, I am angry, I'm feeling anger? And so that's one further displacement
Okay.
from everything.
Now you're getting very sophisticated. So instead of saying I am angry, you can say I'm feeling an emotion that could be expressed or could be anger. Now, even if you want to go even further into non dual cognitive based therapy, then you don't even say I am. You just say there is the presence of anger and I'm witnessing it, because I am is essentially intrinsically free of the anger. It's only when it identifies with that sensation. So that's a very good suggestion from you. Thank you very much for suggesting it, Bart. Any other questions?
Hello, Deepak.
Yes?
Thank you so much for having this on Fireside. I'm so grateful. As a psychologist, I work with adults and children. And when you spoke about gratitude, many times when there's resistance in the therapeutic process, I tell them to say thank you when they get a compliment or they're having difficulties with just in general in that way. And I was wondering if there was something different you would recommend first, if there's some resistance about mindfulness with emotions.
No, saying thank you is beautiful. And, we did a study recently through the Chopra Foundation where we had actually patients with chronic heart failure on digoxin and other medications. And in one group, we introduced gratitude practice. Every night, they would write any answer they could come to with the following question: what am I grateful for? And not only did inflammatory markers go down, but actually these patients' heart disease did much better than those on just medication. So the experience of thank you. And by the way, also, since you reminded me, there's also the experience that we can call um, inner inner joy. So even if you smile inwardly from your head to your toes, you imagine that your whole body is smiling. That increases vagal tone. And these days, there's lots of literature on vagal tone, how singing, chanting, humming, storytelling, nursery rhymes can all increase vagal tone. And there are also ways to stimulate vagal tone through head and neck massage or through stimulating the vagus nerve, which is in the back of your ear canal. There's a little ridge, and also on the tip. Above the ear canal, there's a little ridge. If you stimulate that gently, both sides, you stimulate vagus nerve. So thank you, smiling, increasing vagal tone, uh, deep breathing. These are all ways actually to decrease inflammation in the body and then facilitate emotional well-being as the next step. So thank you very much for that question. Any other questions? Well, if not, then let me say happy holidays and thank you very much. And Angie, I'm going to save this conversation so we can put it on social media as well. In the meanwhile, happy holy days. Holidays means days of wholeness, days of celebration, days of holiness, all inclusiveness, days of joy, days of gratitude.